recording computer. So I did not upload last Monday's class yet, but it's coming. It's coming. Now, if you guys have any questions, be sure to drop them in the chat. For you guys who are on there, you guys saw the topic today. The topic is definitely how to recognize the more unorthodox looking moves. Now, everyone knows I trade harmonics, I trade head and shoulders, I trade a lot of different, I trade structure. My bread and butter is harmonics though. Now, a lot of people feel like they can't find harmonics off the rip because they're like, I don't see it. Like, I don't see what you are seeing. But these moves are like baked in the middle of a lot of other stuff, a lot of other noise and nonsense. It's in the middle of all of that stuff. So I'm gonna show you guys how to find a lot of those moves. Now, this right here, me and Ray talked about this earlier in the group chat, the two ciphers back to back, and they went off because they were right at this buy line when it first started, and it's up quite a bit of pips right now. Currently up, let me see, from entry, good old 130 pips. That's a nice little move right there. Even if you don't get in the sell at the top up here, this move is still nice. 130 pips, that's pretty dang on good. But off that one, now you guys will see I have a lot of have a whole lot of different pairs over here. I trade almost every pair, mainly because people may ask me questions about pairs, and I go look at it and they be like, oh, I see something on here. This is what it is. But first pair I'm going to right now, I'm actually not going to go through and find every pattern that I posted last week in the chat. I know you guys were in the chat with me on Thursday, Friday, and even today. I was going pattern crazy. And the reason I did that is I usually never, ever, ever trade the 5 minute. Only reason I touch the 5 minute is because US 30 moves very good on the 530, not the 530. US 30 moves really good on the 5 minute, not the 530. So I was down in the 5 minute looking at some things, and there are patterns everywhere in the 5 minute. Now, the problem with that is, unless you're trying to sit here and scalp, I wouldn't suggest trading the 5 minute a lot, unless you're doing something like US 30 or oil or, you know, a stock or something like that. But for the most part, I mean, you don't have to trade the 5 minute on here. You still can make bank. I find that the patterns on the bigger patterns, the patterns on the bigger time frames, these bigger patterns hold more weight than the small ones do. So you will see a lot of small patterns get invalidated like it's nothing. But then a big pattern will, you know, make things happen. And the reason why I say that is because it's better to go on a higher time frame and find less patterns that are more valid than go on a lower time frame and find a million patterns and 75% of them get blown straight through. You don't want that. You rather have your patterns be confirmed and be, you know, do what they're supposed to do, not just get blown straight through. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys. I wrote down Chef JPY and Euro JPY. So let's look and see what we got here. So on this, perfect example. So let me make sure to erase this. This is from an old session. I know I have lines galore here. I'm actually going to erase some of these lines. Well, I'm just going to minimize them because what I'm showing you guys is that this chart is already marked up already. It's already showing support, resistance. It's already showing everything I need to analyze this chart and see what the heck is going on. So this is actually an old buy line. I can erase that. This 1 hour line. Every one of these green lines is a 1 hour line. Every one of these black diagonal lines is a daily trend line. This gold line is a 4 hour trend line. Let me go to 4 hour. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. That's the right thing. Okay, 4 hour trend line. This is all we need right here. To the normal person, to the naked eye, this looks like nothing, consolidation, a mess. But to a person who trades harmonics, I can look at this and decipher what the heck is going on here, right? Now, there's multiple ways I can look at this. I remember when I first was drawing this up, I saw a pattern that was somewhere, it was somewhere like this. Now, it's not the exact pattern I'm measuring it, but it was something like this I saw. That wasn't it. It was actually right here. It was like this. It was something like this is what I saw. It never completed all the way down. It was somewhere down here it's supposed to complete it. Never completed. It missed entry barely and took off. That happens. That's fine. It's 100% fine. But in all this mess, there's patterns galore. I'm not going to drop down to the 5 minute and try to find more patterns in this because, I mean, I could, but there's so much information in here. What is the point? Now, what I can do in this though, so looking over here at this information, right? I know looking for a Gartley or a bat pattern, you're looking for a W formation off the rip. Now, looking at this, you might be like, okay, I don't see a clear, perfect cut W or M formation on here, but they're buried in here. Now, look at this overall move. Right? I'm just going to ignore this right here in the middle. This is a basic W formation right here, right? Now, what makes this one not the valid move is this point right here. This is actually would be your pivot point, and that would actually be your B point. That makes this right here not a valid move, but the W formation is still there. If you guys look close enough, you can look between all the noise to find it, but it's definitely there. Even if I go out to a higher time frame, this is like an absolute mess right now, but it is still there. Like, you still can see almost that more W formation right there. You actually see a head and shoulders there too. It's a very ugly head and shoulders, so I wouldn't chase it, but it's definitely there. But I'm gonna go back down to this 15-minute real quick. Let me see what we got here. So if I follow the rules of drawing one of these bad boys up, like fibbing, just I'm just gonna fib from here to here, right? So fibbing from here to here, I want to say I had a Gartley pattern on here that was something like this also. So remember, you update your patterns along with the move. It was a pattern something like this. Mix the color of Gartley real quick. This was the Gartley pattern that was there. It obviously invalidated. Price pushed all the way down, then price went all the way up to that entry and still dropped down. Let me see. Yeah, so that's what it did. It went all the way up there to the entry zone and dropped down still. Now, with all this movement after this, it invalidated this pattern. Now, on the strength that the move is still there, what I can do is now not use this high point, because I'm seeing that this point right here made this whole thing a whole different move. Or what's the cipher move? Let me see. What is the cipher here? I can't see because this is in the way. This could have possibly been a cipher also. Like I said, this moves all through all of this mess. You just have to, grab your impulse leg and measure, because that's where you're gonna find out what's really going on here. So grab from there to there, and then there to here. This actually was a cipher move. If you guys don't see it, look at all this mesh right here. And let me grab me a box. Remember, your cipher C zone is 1272 to 1414. This is your C zone validation area right here. So now I can erase these. If you guys wonder what the heck is going on, okay. So this is my X to my A right here. This is my retracement right here. My B point went back to 0.5. This is a valid cipher move. So now that I have that, I now fib from, let me type X on here real quick. I'm going to do like all different kind of patterns on here. I'm doing the cipher, the bat, and the Gartley to show you guys that they're all in this mess of moves. This should be a, oops. This should be a, and this should be your B. Yes, I know they're not capital, but it doesn't matter. Why is this doing the 2 times 4? Am I tripping or my keyboard tripping? This should be your B right here in the middle. Where the arrow is at, XAB. Your C zone validation is this pink, reddish box down here. That's your C. So now that you have the information, you fib from X to A. This is how you get your B. Your B is valid. So now you go from A back to X, and this is how you get your C. As long as price closes in this box and it can wick outside this 1414, but can't close outside 1414. That's fine. This is 100% fine. So you see, this will be your C point. Now that I have that information, my C point is valid, my B point is valid. I can now fib from X to C. I'm looking for a 786 touch, and look where price is at. 0.786 right there. Look what price came at. Exactly the 0.786. I want to say I probably dropped this one in the group last week too. But in all this mess of movement, you have literally a perfect cipher right there. It looks a little wonky right there, but that is actually a perfect cipher right there. So let me go and do a basic cipher, bam, and this joint went off for a lot of pips, 220 plus pips right there on that move in all this nonsense. So you saw how we were originally looking for a Gartley pattern because of the W formation. But in all this, like I said, all this movement in the middle, and the reason why I'm showing you guys this is sometimes people let the movement in the middle throw them off. Meaning this right here, where's my box? Man. People at this right here, let me scroll to the left, throw them off. This right here in the middle. This right here, I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter, but in the grand scheme of things, if your pattern is bigger than this, all this movement in the middle is just going along with your pattern. None of that matters. That's like, if I'm in this trade, if I decide to buy this up from C to D, if I bought this right here, all this little dinking and dunking in the middle, for any of you guys who know about football, know that a quarterback who can't really throw that good, dinks and dunks all over the field, that throw short passes to get their stats up real high. All these little short movements in the middle, they don't mean anything, because in the grand scheme of things, the move you want is this. This is all you want. So all this right here means no difference. Don't let any of this stuff freak you out or make you think, oh my God, this pattern's not going to validate. What if it goes under, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Let it do what it's going to do. If you buy this from C to D on the cipher, that's like my favorite move, is to buy from C to D on the cipher. If you buy that, let it ride. All this right here doesn't matter. Until it hits your take profit or your stop loss, you're good to go on that trade. Now that we have that, I can go back and erase these letters on here. I don't need them right now. Let me erase, and get rid of this box too. Now, on the flip side, I always say on the flip side, but on the flip side of this, more movement. So let's say we go right here. I'm gonna erase this first fib too. We don't need this right now. So we already got our entry on that cipher, blah, blah, blah. Right here, this high point off this trend line. If I grab this, pull this down, now you're probably looking like, okay, the top to the low point, this is one of those wonky ones where you'll see this and be like, hey, it didn't hit right, coming right here. This action right here in the middle. Right here, right yonder. You see this, right? So off the rip of, let me erase this real quick. Let me rewind this back to about right. That's too far. That's not far enough, actually. Let me rewind this to about right here. So by seeing this movement, first thing I'm thinking is, okay, this must be a Gartley or a bat setup, because I have X to A, and then my B point hit 0.5, didn't hit 618 right here in the middle. I'm looking for a bat pattern. So now that I have that, let me make this box some blue or something like that. Oops, wrong thing. I mean, it's blue. That's my validation for my bat pattern right there. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a bat pattern. Let me now fib my A to my hypothetical B to get C. C is right about at 786. So I'm just looking for a bat pattern. And we all saw this bat pattern did not complete, but we're gonna draw it out anyway. Our buy line for our bat pattern would be right here. Let me turn this to a buy. And this is what our pattern was. This sucks working on the smaller screen. X to A, A to B, B to C, C to D. Right? That was a hypothetical bat pattern. Basically that. And play it out. We see that it did not hit down there. It came close. It came right to 786. Skyrocketed. And play. Do what you're gonna do. Matter of fact, I was excited. It doesn't matter. You see that this thing did not do what it's supposed to do, obviously. But even in all that nonsense, this happens. Like sometimes a pattern doesn't hit entry and it takes off, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? I mean, it happens. Sometimes they do not hit entry. But guess what? No harm, no foul. Don't let all this noise in the middle scare you off, because you can find more moves in all of this. Like in all this move, you can still find more moves. Even on the grander scheme, if you look here, there's another potential pattern in here. This one also did not complete, but it was there. Let's say you're watching this right here. I'm not gonna fib the whole thing out. This is basically a Gartley pattern, but it'd have been X to A to this is your new B, B to C, and then D would have been down here somewhere. The same exact buy line. How did that work? You see that price is not complete. But again, in all of this dancing around up and down movement, you still have potential patterns to be made there. Now, they won't always complete. That's why I said I like to go to a higher time frame and draw them up, because even on the 15 minutes sometimes they get blown straight through. But that's on any time frame. You can draw a pattern on the hour and they still can get blown straight through, because there's no guarantee that your pattern is going to complete. Now, the one I was trying to show you guys is actually more like this. And I don't like that one at all. Hold it. I don't think it was that one. That one looks really, really ugly. I don't like that one at all. So if we graph from up here, this pattern right here was just so wonky. I had to only see this as a kind of a head and shoulders, but not really. And this is the thing to remember too when you're trading, don't chase any move. And the reason why I say that is because once you start trying to force a movement or force a pair into a movement, you're gonna start setting yourself up to take an L. You don't want to set yourself up to take an L. Now, what this could have been, because look what price came at. Price came right back to 886. Now, your B zone, your hypothetical B zone, if you didn't use this as our B, you're probably wondering why I didn't use this as your B. because this is just one of those weird ones where I'm going off the eye, not off the actual rules. A lot of times you want to follow the rules tightly, but you know, when you see what's going on in a pattern, you can kind of, you know, kind of bend the rules a little. I don't suggest bending the rules a lot. I do that because, I mean, you know, I've been doing these patterns for a while and seeing how these certain pairs move for a while. So I know that if I have something like this right here, which is it's bold, this is a daily trend line coming down, and this is another daily trend line coming down, right? So you guys see that price gravitates towards trend lines. I'm not gonna make the trend line class. I did the trend line class last week. I'm gonna make this trend line class, but price gravitates toward these trend lines. So I use these. I'm just gonna give an example right here. Look how price gravitates towards these trend lines. So a lot of these moves are price just going to test these trend lines. These are very, very strong zones. Look how strong those zones are. So like I said, price is probably going to test those. So with this one, I wouldn't force the pattern on here, but if I had my pattern drawn up, let's say I left my pending order on here on accident and I saw that price was going to come to 886, I wouldn't freak out if I was on this. The reason why I wouldn't freak out is because, yes, over here on the left, this is 100% a mess right here. This is all just a mess of movement right here. But there's money to be made here. There's a cipher in there, and there was a potential Gartley in there that invalidated also, but price still went to 886 and still dropped off. So that one, again, I wouldn't have chased that, but it was still a legit move. Now I'm pretty sure there's another pattern here that I'm seeing, but I don't want to draw it up and show you guys the wrong thing intentionally. So you know what? I'm going to skip that pattern that I see in there. I'm going to go to my other pair I had drawn up, which was GBP CHF, which is not this one. It wasn't this one, was it? Yeah, what? It was this one. But these two, oh no, it was ECHF. Euro CHF. There you go. So this one right here definitely looks like a mess. There's stuff in here, but this is like a mess of moves because these moves are very over exaggerated on the 15-minute. Look how long a lot of these wicks are. They're crazy long on here. Now on this, I want to say I grabbed this from my initial fib was this as my potential X. Now, so what happens is sometimes what I'll do is if I grab from a point and what I wanted to happen isn't happening, I'll grab from the next impulse point. Because looking at this off the rip, this looks kind of like an impulse leg. And I say kind of because it's there, but it ain't sexy. Because right here, you see, this is your impulse leg, right? Bam, impulse leg. But what makes this a not sexy impulse leg is this hitch. So say the hitch and the giddy up right here. You see this right here? It goes impulse, then it goes retracement, then it goes impulse again. So some people who count all this one move as one impulse leg, I actually see this as two impulses. But what I do is I still grab from the top one first and see what I got. So I'm gonna grab from up here and fib X to potential A, which would be this lowest wick down here. Now I see on this, my retracement could be one of two things actually. There's actually, this is another funky thing too. This could be one of two things on a retracement on this. We go to a higher time frame so you guys can see what the heck I'm talking about. This could be one of two retracements on here. If you guys know what I'm talking about, again, this whole session is about looking past some of the nonsense on here to see what you see. Count this as your impulse leg, X to A, right there, bam. Count as your impulse leg. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, this is retracement. Yes, it is, but asterisk, this, if you're counting this as your retracement, you can count this whole thing right here as your retracement. And why is that? Because this piece right here, all part of the same move. It depends on how you're looking at this. There's some funky patterns mixed into this thing because you can find some patterns without forcing it. It can still meet your parameters without you having to draw some invalidated stuff over here. So what I mean by that is, on a 1 hour time frame, you see almost more clearly that this is all just part of the same impulse up. So anyway, down to my 15-minute, you see that I could use this point as my B point. This is like the highest point in the middle before price turns back around. So I can now take that and go, okay, this is my impulse. This is the other piece of my W. And then 886 is what I'm looking for. Look where price came at, right to 886. So I mean, this is a very unconventional way of doing this, but in all of this mess of price going up and down, up and down, up and down, you can still make money off of it because it still made the formation. It just looks a little not as pretty as you would think if you wanted to look. So my example would be, my bat pattern. Hold on real quick. Now that I fibbed that out, I can now fib from this low point to my B point, which is right here. And again, this is a very unconventional, like I said, this isn't the most pretty, sexiest one, but that's the point in this whole session. I don't want to show you guys the easy patterns, the easy movements, because the easy ones are the ones you can get easily. But people be like, oh, I don't see anything on the pattern, I don't see anything on the pair, but there's stuff still there. So this could be your XA, get out the way, around the accident, XA, high B, this could be your C. All you need for the bat pattern, all you need price to do is come back down to a 0.5. 0.5 all the way back to 1. And you see that it did, because this low green candle is your C point right there. Your D point, I can now erase this. Your D point is 886 up here up top. So this would be D up top. And look what you had. You had a very non-conventional, I keep on saying that, X to A to B, B to C, C to D, which was a test of this trend line coming down. Again, you see this daily diagonal trend line right here. By me knowing that's right there, I know price is probably going to gravitate towards that. But diagonal trend line right there, and then you had this big drop off. So from right there, you had if you entered at 886 exactly, nice little 50 pip drop off right there on a 15-minute pattern, a 1 hour pattern, however you drew it up. Now, the other one that was on here was almost the exact same thing, except it was a little bit different. I'm gonna show you guys this one too, because again, we're going by how you see this. Two things can be true at the same time. So I'm gonna hide this pattern right here. I'm going to make this an expired bat. Bam, get out of here. The other one would be, I'm gonna shift some stuff around real quick. Now I'll erase you. I'm gonna shift this X over real quick. If you grab from this point, this is what your pattern would have been. It depends on how you see it, how you look at this. Your D is still somewhere in this general area. So if I fib this from now, this high point, X down to A, my B still hit 0.5, which is my validation point for my bat pattern. You see right here? My B still hit 0.5. My C point, if I fib from A to B to get C, should price still hit 786 right there. So again, this pattern is still valid. But now what I have is my entry would have not been as good, but guess what? You could have still made money on this entry without even getting in this big movement. Let me show you how. It would have been, your pattern would have been X to A to B, B to C, C to D at 886. And you're wondering, okay, what the heck are you talking about? I don't see it, but let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Go down to 15-minute real quick. Now, look at the orange pattern that's standing out in bold, right? Price still gravitated towards this this daily diagonal trend line right here, this black one coming down. Daily diagonal trend line, right? It gravitated towards there first. Look at your first movement soon as, oops, I erased the wrong line, didn't I? It gravitated towards there first. I'm going to erase the fib just now. Get out of here. It gravitated towards this diagonal trend line first, and then your first movement was the drop off. Your first movement was the drop off, and then you had price go complete the larger pattern, and then a bigger drop off. So you could have still made money on this either way, because no matter how you saw this pattern, it would have played out for you. Depending if you grabbed your X from up here high or your X from down here low, because different impulse legs have different entries. But you see that, look at this, look at your drawdown, which would have been at the highest of the high 12 pips. And then you would have even risked it. That'd be like a 1-on-1 trade, 14 pips. Price didn't make it all the way back to B on this. But my back to B thing is usually for Gartley patterns anyway. But down 14, you would have risked 14, not 14, you would have you would have risked 12 pips to get 14 pips. Bam, my bad. That was very hard for me to say just now. But you guys see my point. Prices gravitated towards the daily trend line. I probably would have sold the trend line anyway. So I know there's a high chance that price is going to go there. My example is if I go to the daily, there's a lot of stuff on here. If I go all the way to the daily, now this is our small little pattern right here, and just look at the respect on that trend line, all the way down, all the way over here. It's respect in there, respect right there, that big push off, rejection right there, rejection right there. Price broken retest right here, rejection, Same thing, that long candle right there, a big rejection off of it. That's a pretty highly respected trend line right there. So down here, I know it's a high chance that price is gonna come back to it and reject off of it, because when price comes to that line, it doesn't really want to be there. Like it's rejecting off of it heavily. So it's showing me that ugly moves can be found in all this, not say gibberish, but all this up and down movement. Now I know I didn't go through and show you guys any patterns that I've been dropping in the chat because there's so many of them. And I know I said I'm going to drop more patterns in the main in the 5-figure channel. I'm changing the name of that thing to just probably money team signals. Probably gonna change it to that, because I mean I find so many harmonic patterns. It's ridiculous. I found one in like 1 minute when you guys are on here. Guys who are on my class early saw that I found a pattern in like 1 minute, because it literally takes no time at all to find patterns. This right here, these are actually both still valid. This blue cipher and this dark blue cipher are both still valid. So if you guys want to get in a pending sell up here, you can, because this is still a valid move. It is still pushing its way up. I'm not saying it's going to be there tomorrow or Wednesday, but it's getting there. This is a 15-minute chart. And then you go up. I see right here. This looks like to me a very not pretty head and shoulders. Now, this is not one I would chase, mainly because I like my head and shoulders to come up, find a level of support, and then, you know, for example, right here. This is a good example right here. Where's my line at? Here it is. This example right here, right? If I drop this line right here, I see a very distinct level where price came up and found support right here. It made left shoulder, head, right shoulder, push back under support. That's a very ugly drawn it just now, but you guys see the point I'm making right here. Even the head and shoulder, you can find head and shoulders in all this mess too. It doesn't have to be a perfect come up, make head and shoulders and come back down. This example right here, like this one right here might be head and shoulders right here. I don't like it, but I mean, it's definitely, we drop a line right there. It's still there. It is still definitely still there. It's just not one I would take because I don't like how it looks. It could be a little baby left shoulder ahead, and then a little higher right shoulder. You see price drop back down. I would need price to go all the way back down, all the way down. Where's my arrow tool at? All the way back down here. Now, the reason why I would need that or want that is because that's how head and shoulders work. And you see this move right here, this ain't nothing but a break and a retest. That's all it is. Break, retest, waiting on a rejection to happen. Well, it's already starting to happen, but waiting on a big rejection to happen. But this isn't the prettiest head and shoulders, but it's definitely there. I'm trying to see what else I have on these charts. Now, I made the big mistake of actually marking up too many charts at one time because I have like I'm saying ample, way too many charts marked up at one time right now. I don't even like how many charts I have marked up right now. But I'm trying to see what I have for you guys on here. Euro NTD, you guys should have been in this last week. Also, this was drawn in 5 minute actually. We dropped down to the 5 minute. You guys will see that price did a very ugly thing here and it still came down to take profit. But I don't like this move over here either because it wasn't the sexiest move at all. And again, these moves won't always be sexy, but this one for sure, I didn't like it as a sexy move at all. That's following this one, bat patterns. I trade bat patterns, but they ain't my favorite pattern at all. Because my problem with bat patterns is they don't have an entry zone of validation. They just have an entry spot. The fact that they have an entry spot, I need some more confirmation to get into that trade for a sell or a buy. I need that D point to be close to a level of support or resistance or a trend line for me to hop in that bat pattern. Now with a Gartley, we're having an entry zone. For the most part, the zones end up lining up with a bigger move or markup. Now looking at this just off the rip, without even marking it up real quick, I see that there's a potential bat right here on AUD USD. I fit from here to here. Let me see. I guess I got a question in the chat too. My bad. I hate the bat. Yeah, Chris says I hate the bat. Now, if you guys see, I post bat patterns, but I'm like I said, I'm not confident in the bat. The bat will play you easily because it has an entry spot, not an entry zone. Like with the Gartley has an entry zone, so you have 2 chances to enter. And for the most part, when I send you guys a Gartley, the entry zone is pretty close to a major level of support or resistance. So you know that's just more confirmation. Now, price might be decided it wants to blow through that point at that moment, and it might do that. That's a possibility, but it's a higher chance that it won't. it's a higher chance that it turn around because it has more things it has to break through. Where is my stuff? Oh, there it is. I'm just gonna move stuff all over the place. Okay, now we're good. So right here, this is a bat. You guys see I only fib one time to find this bat. So all I need, honestly, for me to do a bat is all I need is X to A to B. I see B hit 0.5. I see that my C point is low enough. It's probably at 0.5 also, or 618. And then I need my A86 entry. That's literally all I need for a bat. It's pretty straightforward of a pattern as you can get. And I know this right here isn't the messiest of messiest moves, but it isn't the cleanest either. So I'm trying to show you guys that even in all this nonsense, and look, price went right to 618. I'm doing this way too long. Went to 618 and turned around. But for you guys see that even in all this up and down, up and down, up and down, I know you guys probably see that when you see somebody draw a bat pattern, I'll show you an example of a bat pattern. It's usually straight line, straight line, straight line. But that ain't how it's gonna be in real life. So I mean, you gotta look at all this little movement in the middle and just add that into your bigger picture move. And your bat pattern right here is actually X to A to B, B to A to B, B to C, C to D, which would be right here. And that would be your sell zone right there. But again, the bat is not my favorite pattern at all. I prefer to trade the Gartley, and I also prefer to trade C to D on a cipher pattern. It should be a sell right there. Bam. Just that simple. This one here actually isn't bad though, because look at this sell zone. Now this is what I'm talking about with having more confirmation. Look at this sell zone right here in this. You're at 886. This is a major zone right here to sell. Let me erase this fib real quick. Look at that wick right there. Right at that sell zone. Look at that. Right at that sell zone. Look at this. This is right at the sell zone. This rejection. So right here, this is showing you back to the basic stuff. This was support. This was resistance. This was resistance. This was resistance. What's probably going to happen right here? Resistance of some sort. I'm just saying. I'm not saying this guarantee is going to happen, but the way this is set up, that's how it's looking. That's going to happen. So be aware of that. Like with a bat pattern, I kind of want my D point entry to be at a level like that, because that's a pretty nice level right there. Now, if price on the AUD USD is going to continue down, all this is showing me is that when price gets right there, it's going to reject, and that rejection is going to work in our favor, because that's how it should be. And if the rejection does work in our favor, we now know that. I'm sure you guys how people find confluence also in harmonics. This sub zone is 886, right? So let's say I'm drawing a non-conventional pattern on this. Look at this right here. Well, I don't like that at all. Okay, so I'm drawing a non-conventional pattern on this right here, right? And this is my X down here, my A, where this X is at, my B. This would be another bigger bat pattern right here. This would be a X to A to B, B to C whenever this completes at 886, and C to D like that. Again, bat patterns ain't my favorite, but I mean they're still legit harmonic patterns. They just ain't the bread and butter move that I like. They're just like, they're a move that happens. I'm not a big fan of them, but they're there. So I mean that would be also another bat pattern too, on top of that bat pattern. Let me see what else we got over here. This one is invalid. Look at that. Same thing here, off the rip, looking at this, you're like, what? I don't see anything on here. But I do see a move right here. I see a head and shoulders. I see a potential. Here's your head and shoulders right here. You guys don't see it. I'll just draw this from right here. It doesn't matter. It's just for example purposes. Inverted head and shoulders, because the head and shoulders can go both ways. Inverted head and shoulders right here. Oh, I went way too far over. It doesn't matter. Let me fix that. Hold up, one more time. One more time, let's try this again. Inverted head and shoulders. I'm probably wondering again, why do I draw my head and shoulders if price ain't going there yet? I draw my head and shoulders like this because even when price, this is just from me back testing things and seeing things, even when price doesn't come flush, like this area right here, when price doesn't come flush all the way back to the zone, this other shoulder still holds weight to it. So I mean, there's a chance that price can still push that way and finish off and catch all this move right here. Remember, price needs momentum to go past the point. So this is still a possibility, but also what you guys see on all this head and shoulder action. Let me erase this real quick so we don't need this. I'll just hide it. Get out of here. Right here too in this, what do you guys see here? I just fib this joint out one time. Same thing, 618, 886. That's a Gartley pattern right there. Let me grab here to here, get my money zone right real quick. I'll show you guys how this money zone thing works. I want to say I probably dropped this pattern in the group also, because like I said, last Thursday and Friday, I was going pattern crazy. Oh, what you doing? You're supposed to change colors just now. You're supposed to change colors. Money zone, bam. Okay, so we good. So now I have this money zone on here. I can erase this, and I can erase this, and this would have been your Gartley pattern right here. Does the head and shoulders turn green to validate the pattern, or does it always turn green when you draw it? So my head and shoulders, you can set it to any color you want to. I have mine green just to, doesn't actually validate the pattern. What it does is when you close it, you close the loop of it, it turns to solid color. I'll show you real quick. This is a Gartley pattern. Like I said, in all that nonsense, I definitely did drop you guys this, but in all that nonsense right there, look at that. This is a perfect little Gartley pattern right there. But how this head and shoulders does is, I'm just going to draw one, for example, right anywhere. So if I draw this flat on here, let's see how I miss my left shoulder. Now I'll make this a head up here, and then the other shoulder. See that line going across? See that diagonal line right there? That diagonal line turns the other shoulder to a full color when it's closed. So right there. So you see when it's closed, it turns the color. It's just showing you that your line is straight, so that you have all this on the same path. Because what happens is, if I grab this first point from too high, see the color goes away. Same thing here. If it's not closed, like if it's not all on the same line, it's not going to fulfill that box. But this can actually be any color. I just had mine green for, I don't know why. I just made it green for no reason. But yeah. And also, it doesn't have to be that translucent. I just do it that way so I can still see through it. And you also can do the lines on the outside too if you wanted to. You have those words nice and bold, but it's too much going on. But yeah, there's that too. So that's how that works. It doesn't really validate it as much as just showing you that the line that you drew. I remember a couple of days ago in the group, someone drew one that was kind of like, this. It was kind of crooked, like this. Which, I mean, you can have a head and shoulders on an angle, but just know if this first point is not on that same angle, like it can be on a diagonal trend line, but if that first point is not on the same angle too, it's not going to close the box. So you have to pull that first point down to close that box. See how that works? Let me see if I have any other patterns in the mess of moves. I want to say, was this a cipher pattern over here? Did we talk about this already? I think we just talked about this, didn't we? How am I tripping? Oh no, this is the one I was waiting on. I think it missed. This right here is a cipher pattern also. Price just wicked that 1414, that 1272 zone down there. You see it right there? It wicked it. And that's all we need, baby. That's all we need. So we got that. I can erase. I know I just flew through this just now. I'm gonna go down to that. Look how close that price came to hitting that entry on that cipher. That close. How much pips you guys think this is? Let's find out. Good old 5 pip miss. That's trash. Well, it ain't trash, but that's trash. Now, a lot of times, I hate to set my pending order and it misses, and then you know what? I go and I erase it, and the price does this. The price like, you know what? Just kidding, and it hits it and then turns around. I hate when that happens, but I'd rather it miss by a pip or 5 pips, and then I close it, and then me hold on to it, and then price just goes like, it just goes out of here. Like, I'll holler at you later. It goes that high. Now I lose a trade for no reason by not closing it out. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes people get lucky and people will hold a trade on accident and it still wins. But in that case, if my entry missed by like 5 pips and it was that close, I'm closing this. I'm closing that joint. I'm erasing that pattern. Well, I'm erasing that entry, not the pattern. Because I don't want to get stuck to where price be like, I'm about to blow this thing out of the water and you're still holding on to it for no reason. Let me see what else we got. Like I said, I'm so tempted to just go through all those hundreds of patterns, not hundreds, all those dozens of patterns I drew up in the thing, but I'm not going to. US 30. This US did it invalidate? I don't think it did. Let me actually hide this so I can see. Okay, it didn't invalidate. We're good. So this is Gartley US 30. Still legit. Still very much legit. So if you guys see US 30 approaching this zone up here, where's that? And you guys know I don't trade US 30, but I'm trading US 30 this week. If price comes up here, it hits this zone, this joint, I'm looking for a sell on this. I'm looking for a sell. And actually, even on a smaller scale, the same thing I was talking about, you guys see you have like this point, and then that point, and then this point. This could be two different things down here. Let me drop down to the 5 minute and show you guys. This could be multiple things right here. Let me ghost this out real quick. And let me go to bam. So if you fib from what point I want to fib from, I actually fib from this point right here. This is actually a pretty strong impulse down. So looking like this could be, oh, it just missed being a cipher. Just missed it. You see that? It didn't hit 1272. Never mind. That cipher is not exist. It's dead. Forget I even said that. It doesn't exist. But what we do have on the grander scheme of things is if I grab from here to here, I have a potential bat. And we just talked about these bat patterns, but guess what? It's still there though. I bet you it's 886. Oh, yep, right to 886. You got what I'm talking about. I'm talking about right here, this C point at 886. So now that I have the information, what I can do is draw me up a bat pattern. You guys probably wondering, okay, if you have a bat pattern in the middle of a Gartley pattern, how do you know which one is going to go? You don't. You just know that you have both of them there, and look at your level of support and resistance and stuff like that, just to know what can possibly happen, because that basic information is going to give you some clues to what's going on here. So what I have here, every one of these red lines I have on here, I drew in a 15-minute time frame. I didn't draw any lines, I think, on the daily time frame. This line right here, 15-minute time frame. This line, 15-minute time frame. This line, 15-minute time frame. So there might not be, no, it's not like on US 30. If I go to the daily or something like that, I can't talk right now. Go to the daily. There's not a lot of information on this daily time frame. So you have to drop this thing down to a smaller time frame to see these moves. This is mainly for US 30. So what I'm seeing on this is price is actually, where's my arrow at? Is actually right under this line right here. You see it? Price is under that line. It just rejected it. Now, excuse me, if price makes a breakthrough, it's gonna have to go up and then probably find support and then head on up. So it could be looking at that right there. That's what I'm seeing on this, not tic-tac-toe lines, but you guys see what I'm talking about. Price will go up, come back down, find support, makes this move to the upside. Now, will it keep on dropping? I don't know. I don't trade stocks. Okay, I trade forex, but I know forex moves, and forex moves is saying that if price is going to push up, it's going to come back down, find support, and then make its next move. And either this first rejection right here is going to be rejection of it following down, or it's going to be rejection of it coming down to this line and then pushing back up again, because the price needs momentum to move. Yes, price does blast through points, but even when it blasts through a certain point, for instance, right here, what happened? It blasted through this point, did a break and retest, and then this break, this retest, it continues on. So I mean, even when it blasts through a point, it still comes back to it usually. Right here, it blasted through a point, wicked like crazy, and then it came back to it, and we'll do a break and a retest right back on that same point. So I mean, even when price blasts through a point, there's a chance it's coming back to it. Now I know US 30 moves crazy amount of pips at one time. So when you trade in this joint, make sure you trade probably like 1 cent, like 1 cent at a time, because in one night you can take a $500 account real high trading 1 cent, because US 30 be moving, especially with how money's moving right now. Now, do any of you guys have any questions about anything I talked about? I guess that's the no questions. So before I hop up off here, I know I talked about a lot of nonsense tonight, a lot of, seeing the messes, well, seeing the moves and the messes. And I think I might cover, I don't know, I'm covering on Thursday. I'll think of something, man. I think I might cover, the smaller time frame versus the larger time frame when it comes to find these patterns. Because you guys know I find patterns on literally every single time frame. But you can find patterns on everything. It's all about how you want to trade. If you decide you want to go to the daily in 4 hour and 1 hour and drop patterns on there, You want to just swing trade some things, man, because those big patterns are going to yield you hundreds to thousands of pips by you just holding. So it comes back to the same thing. All that nonsense you see in the middle, all that up and down movement you see in the middle, does not matter when you're doing a really big pattern, because that's going to happen. Prices are going to dance around. But if you're doing a big pattern like on a 4 hour or 1 hour, do not sit there and watch it. Let it go to your take profit. Let it do what it's supposed to do. Like that's the main thing. Let price do what it's supposed to do. Because sometimes you'll intervene for no reason. Sometimes you'll close price before it even hits take profit, and it goes beyond your take profit. And so you're closing out just because you see blue, but you're not letting it do the analysis you said or you wanted to do. Let it do what it's going to do, because you're doing analysis on these things for a reason. Now, with that being said, if you guys don't have no questions, I should just pat on these triggers now. If you guys don't have no questions, I guess I will be hopping off of here. Let me see if I see anything else before I get off here, though. Yeah, that was that Chef JPY that missed right there by a couple of pips. And then there was your JPY that hit perfectly right there and skyrocketed. Same exact move. This is a thing I talked about too recently with someone asked me a question a couple of days ago about the JPY pairs. Some of them move identically. Some of them, like for instance, Chef JPY, your JPY. This literally looks like the same exact chart. Like, look at that. It literally looks almost the same. It's the same exact movement happens. But UJ moves a little bit different. GJ moves a little bit different. GJ moves closer to, looks like AJ and NZDJPY move almost exactly the same also. You see that? Looks like the same exact chart again. And so does these two. Same exact chart. So be mindful of that too. Because these do make similar moves, but they're not exactly the same. That joint I missed by 5 pips. Ridiculous. I'm trying to see what else I had on here before I get off, before you guys get anything. But that US 30 trade is definitely legit. This is actually forming up something right now. I'm not gonna speak on it yet. I might drop it in the chat. The head and shoulders. This is a very unconventional one I told you guys about. We see that this shoulder is kind of slumped down. Got this Quasimodo action right now. It has a high shoulder and low shoulder. But you see the head and shoulders action is still legit right there. Still definitely legit. And we talked about that one already. So yeah, I mean that is it. That is it. I will see you guys on the next one. Well, matter of fact, I'll see you guys in the chat.